live, we will discuss about the poem Ode to Adaman, written by John Keats. John Keats' Ode to Adaman, 1819, is one of his most celebrated odes, filled with rich imagery and deep symbolism. I will first give you a short about overview, then move into stanza by stanza or line by line critical discussion. Okay, at first we know about the poem. The poem, written in September 1819 during Keats' most creative period, same year as Ode to a Nightingale, Ode to on a Grecian urn. It celebrates Ataman not just as a season, but as a symbol of ripeness, fulfillment, and acceptance of life's natural cycle. The poem has three stanzas of 11 lines each, following a modified ode form. Here we find a tone, calm, sensuous, accepting, unlike his other odes. Here there's no conflict, only harmony. Here we find the theme, the beauty of maturity, passage of time, and reconciliation with mortality. Okay, then we go through the stanza one, first line. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness. The first line, Keats, opens with a majestic apostrophe to Ataman. Mist evoke a soft, dreamy atmosphere. Mellow fruitfulness shows ripeness and abundance. The tone is immediate, rich, and sensuous. The next line, close bosom friend of the maturing sun. Here, the line Ataman is personified as a friend of the sun. Both work together to ripen the fruits of the earth. Symbolically, harmony between nature's forces. Next line. Conferring with him how to load and bless. This line, conspiring, suggests a secret or sacred collaboration, nature and the sun enriching life. With fruit, the vine that round the that is apes run. This line indicates image of English rural life, vines heavy with fruits, climbing cottage roofs, abundance in humbly simplicity. to band with apples the most cottage trees. Apple trees bend under the weight of fruit, symbol of fulfillment and fertility, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core. This line suggests that the sense of completeness, perfection in life, the phrase to the core suggests both depth and inevitability. To soil the goat and plump the hazel cells. Visual and tactical imagery of roundness and fullness suggest plenty and nourishment. With a sweet kernel to set budding more. Even as fruit ripen, new buds form. Cycle of life continued. Keats hints at continuity in change. And still more later flowers for the bees. Flowers still bloom, ensuring bees find nectar. Ataman is generous, sustaining life. Until they think warm days will never cease. Bees are deceived into thinking summer continues, suggests the illusion of permanence while change is inevitable. For summer has overbrimmed their clammy cells. Summer's abundance overflows into Ataman, the image of honey-filled hives, stored richness of life. At the end of the stanza 1, we find the critical notes about the stanza 1. This stanza celebrates fruitfulness, abundance, and ripeness, showing Ataman as the climax of life cycle. Imagery appeals to sight, touch, or taste. Stanza 2. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Here, Keats now personifies Ataman as a goddess. She is imagined in rural setting, surrounded by her harvest. Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find. Ataman is visible everywhere if one seeks her presence. When one seeks presence, they seen everywhere, visible in Ataman. The sitting the sitting careless on a granary floor. Ataman is pictured as a woman sitting carelessly among the harvest. The tone is relaxed, unhurried, no anxiety. Thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, gently imagery, her hair lifted like grain in the breeze, sensuous and tender, or on a half-ripped furrow sound asleep. She is also imagined as a tired reaper, resting, symbol of completion, satisfaction after hard work. Dressed with the fume of poppies while they thy hook. Poppies suggest sleep, drowsiness, an image of lethargy and dreamy peace. Spares the next what and all its twin flowers. The sickle is post. Spring flowers suggest tenderness, reluctance to destroy beauty even in harvest. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep. Yetaman, as a gleaner means a poor person collecting leftover grains, gleaner, suggest humility and patience. Steady thy laden head across a brook. Ataman bows under the weight of harvest, a figure of burden but fulfillment. Or by a cedar press with patient look. She waits by the cedar press, slow transformation of fruits into drink, symbolizing slow passage of time. Thou watchest the last oozing hours by hours. Slow dripping of juice, time's slow movement lift, draining gently away, quiet acceptance of mortality. We finish stanza 2 and we find a critical note of stanza 2 is here Ataman is fully humanized. A labor, reaper, gleaner, and cedar, praise washer, symbol of maturity, fulfillment, and calm resignation. Stanza 3. Where are the songs of spring? Hey, where are they? Sudden reflective tone, nostalgia for spring, but the rhetorical question acknowledges spring is gone. Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. Instead of maddening spring, Ataman has its own distinct beauty. While buried clouds bloom the soft dying day, evening sky painted with buried clouds, beautiful image of sunset suggest both ending and fulfillment. And touch the stubble plants with rosy hue. Even harvested fields glow, beauty in emptiness and aftermath. Then in a willful where the small gants murn, gants buzzing is described as music, a note of melancholy, life fading. Among the river shallows born loft, gnats rises and fall like music, symbolizing life's ebb and flow, or sinking as the light wind leaves or dies. Music is linked to breath and mortality, ephemeral beauty, and full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly burn. The bleating lamb's single late season cycle of farm life continuing. Hedge cricket sings, and now with treble soft. The red-breast whistle from a garden cropped. Insects provides evening music, subtle but persistent. Robin's song adds eternal melancholy, a harbinger of winter, and gathering shallows twitter in the skies. Shallows prefer to migrate end of the season, transition to winter. The end of stanza 3, we find that the stanza balances melancholy and acceptance. Spring may be gone, but Ataman has its own music, symbolizing maturity and the beauty of endings. Here we find the theme celebration of Ataman as fulfillment before decline, acceptance of mortality. Imagery, rich sensuous imagery, state, sound, touch, taste, smell are the imagery we found in that poetry. Symbolism, Ataman, maturity of life, climb before death. Here we find the tone, unlike other Keats' odes filled with tension, here tone is serene, reconciled, harmonious. In short, Ode to Ataman is Keats' most perfect ode. Uniting beauty and truth, fullness and mortality in acceptance of life cycle. We go through the deeper critical discussion of Ode to Ataman. The structure of the poem. There are three stanzas. Each stanza had 11 lines, and each stanza highlighting a different aspect of Ataman. The first stanza highlights that ripeness and abundance, fruits, crops, bees, fullness. And the second stanza highlights that personification of Ataman as a reaper, gleaner, seeder, maker, human labor plus rest. Stanza 3 highlights a music of Ataman, sounds of evening, melancholy beauty, acceptance of passing time. Here we find the progression morning to noon to evening, youth to mortality to old age. Here are the themes: fertility and abundance. Ataman is celebrated as the peak of maturity and fruitfulness. To band with apples swells the gourd, plums the hazel shells, images of rich harvest. Time and transience. Ripeness always hints at decay. Bees think summer will never end, illusion of permanence. Swallows prefer to migrate, life is passing into winter, to the close of death. Acceptance of morality. No regret for spring's loss, think not of them. Thou hast thy music too. Unlike Ode to a Nightingale, there's no escape into fantasy. Keats here accepts mortality, calmly, beauty in ordinary life. Crickets, gnats, lambs, robins, swallows, simple rural sounds are elevated into Ataman's music. Poet transforms everyday life into art. So we read the poem and we discuss line by line. Now we end our class. Okay. Okay. Goodbye. See you the next class.